I lost a game of truth or dare. My friend asked me who I liked the most. Without a single moment of hesitation, I blurted out the name of the school's legendary big sister. Upon hearing it, Boda's expression shifted instantly. He began whispering endless malicious rumors about her into my ear. It poisoned my mind so much that when Lang Bingbing confessed her love, I rejected her coldly in front of the entire school. Even if every other woman on this earth were to perish, I would never, ever fall for Lang Bingbing. From that day on, Lang Bingbing would take the long way around just to avoid me. It stayed that way until the very moment I died from overwork. Only then did I finally realize the truth. Boda had been obsessed for a long time, pathetically chasing after Lang Bingbing like a fool. Now, reborn and back in my senior year of high school, I can't help but wonder if Lang Bingbing and I end up together this time. I wonder just how Boda will feel about that. While lost in my thoughts, a sudden commotion broke out at the classroom door. I looked up instinctively. A tall, elegant figure surrounded by the crowd like a star amidst the moon was walking toward me. In that very moment, one name echoed in my mind: Lang Bingbing. To everyone at Tongcheng High School, Lang Bingbing had always been a singular presence. Having transferred mid-senior year less than a month ago, less than greater than, she had already become the absolute center of attention. Less than greater than. Rumors said her family background was incredibly prestigious. Less than greater than. The wealthy heiress of a prominent clan in Jingxi. Less than greater than. There were also whispers that she had caused trouble back in Jingxi. Less than greater than. And her family had sent her here to lie low for a while. Less than greater than. But ironically, such a darling of heaven, less than greater than, had fallen for someone as lowly as me. Less than greater than. But I knew better than anyone else. Less than greater than. We never belonged to the same world. So every time she tried to get close, I retreated over and over again, until I finally pushed her out of my life with my own two hands. The moment the college entrance exams ended, she flew back to Jingxi. I stayed behind in Tongcheng, attending a third-rate university. After that, all contact between us ceased completely. After graduation, I became a slave to the 996 work culture. Occasionally, I would catch a glimpse of news about Lang Bingbing in the business journals. She stood at a height that ordinary people could never hope to reach, while life slowly pushed me further and further into the abyss until the day I died. While I was caught in a daze, Lang Bingbing's group arrived right in front of me. As we passed each other, I felt a gaze fixated on me, full of curiosity and scrutiny. Quickly, they all took their seats, surrounding Lang Bingbing and starting a lively chatter. "Sister Bingbing, you skipped class without even telling us. Were you off on a date with that junior from yesterday?" One girl asked with a long, teasing drawl. Lang Bingbing replied nonchalantly, "Yeah, I was on a date." My heart skipped a beat. My hand gripped the pen tighter without me even realizing it. For some reason, I couldn't help but feel that Lang Bingbing's words were meant specifically for my ears. What exactly happened on this day? I tried my best to remember, but it's been so long that I simply can't recall. Suddenly, a figure rushed to my side and gave my shoulder a heavy slap. Startled, I looked up at that face, my pupils constricted. It was Boda. We had known each other since childhood and used to be close. But after the exams, I stayed in Tongcheng, while he got into a school in Jingxi. From then on, we slowly drifted apart. He slung an arm familiarly over my shoulder. "Chen Fan, want to hit the restroom with me?" As soon as we stepped out of the classroom, he leaned in and whispered secretively in my ear. "Chen Fan, I just heard some crazy gossip. Lang Bingbing actually killed someone back in Jingxi. That's why she was kicked out and sent to this dump." I gave him a calm, sidelong glance. "Is that so?" He just kept rambling on and on, telling the story as if it were absolute fact. When we reached the restroom door, I told him to go ahead inside, less than greater than, and that I would wait for him outside, less than greater than. Watching his retreating figure, less than greater than, a self-deprecating smile touched the corners of my lips, less than greater than. In my past life, I was timid and full of self-doubt, less than greater than. So I viewed him as my only true friend, less than greater than. Because of that, I believed every word that came out of his mouth, less than greater than. Whether it was the story of Lang Bingbing being a killer, or her supposedly dating countless men, or even having a fiancé back in the capital. To me, it all seemed like just passing rumors, less than greater than. But hearing it so often made me think it was all real. Less than greater than. And so, I wanted to stay as far away from Lang Bingbing as possible. Less than greater than. It wasn't until a class reunion many years later that I learned the truth from her group of friends. Lang Bingbing had come to Tongcheng, only because the Lang family was going through internal strife. Her parents were afraid she'd be dragged into the conflict, so they sent her here to Tongcheng for safety. As for those so-called ex-boyfriends, most were nothing more than groundless rumors. I remember it vividly. After that reunion ended, Lang Bingbing's best friend, Zhou Qian, stopped me. She scanned me from head to toe, her eyes filled with blatant contempt. "Oh, by the way, are you still in touch with Boda?" She gave me a meaningful smirk. He's busy chasing after our sister Bing Bing in Jingxi right now. He probably doesn't have the time to spare a thought for you. I froze on the spot instantly. Gee Boda. Didn't he say he had no interest in Lang Bing Bing? Didn't he claim himself that she had killed someone, and that her private life was a total mess? I waited for Gee Boda to come out of the restroom, and we walked back to class together. Surprisingly, he didn't return to his own seat, but followed me and stood right next to my desk. In my past life, I simply thought it was because we were close friends, less than greater than. But now, I see through it all. Less than greater than. He was a man with a hidden agenda. Less than greater than. I looked at him, gave a wry smile, and spoke up. Less than greater than. Class is about to start. Aren't you going back to your seat? Gee Boda quickly replied, Not yet. There's still a little while. I finally waited until the bell rang, and only then did he reluctantly saunter back to his place. This period was literature class. The teacher suddenly made an announcement, asking students to test each other on their memorized readings. Today, our class was sitting in single rows, so naturally there were no seatmates. So the teacher told the students in odd rows to turn around, to test the students in the even rows behind them. As fate would have it, I was in an odd row. I took a deep breath, clutched my literature book, and turned around. The girl in the row behind was resting her chin on one hand, gazing off into the distance. Seeing me turn back, she raised an eyebrow slightly. Our eyes met, and I couldn't help but swallow nervously like a fool. I realized then that Lang Bing Bing was truly stunning. Even looking at her from this close, I couldn't find a single flaw. All around us, students had already started reciting, but the two of us just sat there, motionless. I started feeling uneasy, so I ventured, You first or me? Lang Bing Bing replied in an indifferent tone, as if she didn't care at all. I haven't memorized it. You go. This time, it was my turn to be speechless. How many years has it been since I graduated? How on earth could I still remember these poems? Seeing that I remained silent, Lang Bing Bing raised an eyebrow and smirked. Could it be? Even a top student like you hasn't memorized the lesson. My face suddenly burned hot. Out of habit, I reached up to tug at a strand of hair. Who would have thought that this small gesture of mine would make the girl's gaze grow even more intense? She chuckled softly. How about you say something sweet instead? I'll help you cover it up from the teacher. If it were the old me, I would have turned beet red and then ignored her for an entire half month. But the me of the present is no longer that naive boy from back then. After a moment's hesitation, I curled my lips into a smile. Then what sweet things do you want to hear? Classmate Lang Bing Bing. This time, it was Lang Bing Bing's turn to be stunned. This was likely the first time I had ever addressed her that way. She suddenly realized that I seemed very different today. She stared at me intently, as if searching for some kind of clue. I didn't shy away at all, but casually met her gaze. Gradually, the atmosphere between us became heavy with an ambiguous tension. A thought suddenly flashed through my mind. What if in this life, Lang Bing Bing and I actually ended up together? In my past life, I never lived for myself for even a single day. I worked myself to death just to please my family, but until the very end, I never received an ounce of love in return. Clearly, I deserve something better. At that moment, Lang Bing Bing seemed to have lost her patience. Chen Fan. She was cut off by the teacher before she could finish. The students in the front rows may turn back now. Anyone who hasn't memorized the lesson, please stand up. I was just about to stand. However, just as I prepared to get up, a small hand suddenly pressed down on my shoulder, pushing me back down into my seat. Immediately after, the person behind me withdrew her hand and stood up herself. Lang Bing Bing's playful voice rang out. I'm sorry. Teacher Lee, I haven't memorized it either. The whole class turned their eyes toward her at once. The teacher gave her an annoyed glare. Are you actually proud that you haven't memorized it? What are you smiling about? Lang Bing Bing just chuckled softly and said no more. The literature teacher shook his head in disappointment. His gaze drifted over to me, and he couldn't resist adding a piece of advice. You should follow the example of Chen Fan in front of you. Learn a thing or two from him. Just look at his attitude toward his studies. Hearing this, I felt a pang of guilt and reached up to smooth my hair. But in the very next second, Lang Bing Bing's defiant voice came from behind my head. Yes, sir. I promise to complete the mission. 10:30 p.m. I packed my things, getting ready to head back to the dorm. Unexpectedly, Gee Boda suddenly jumped out. Chen Fan, I'm a little hungry. Come to the canteen with me to grab a bite. I looked at him for a moment and eventually nodded in agreement. By the time we walked out of the canteen, the campus was nearly deserted. As we reached the base of the male dormitory, Gee Boda suddenly nudged me with his elbow. Look over there. Not far away, under a massive tree, a guy and a girl were standing. Gee Boda whispered excitedly. Chen Fan, look quick. That's Lang Bing Bing. The guy with her is Jiang Nuo, the idol from the next class. I only glanced for a second before looking away. Let's take a different way back. Seeing me about to leave, Gee Boda panicked. He grabbed my arm and dragged me forward. I felt an immediate flash of annoyance and my voice rose slightly. Gee Boda. My shout inadvertently caught the attention of the two over there. I looked up instinctively and met Lang Bingbing's surprised gaze. I immediately yanked Ji Boda's arm and started walking quickly ahead. As we passed right by them, a few snippets of their conversation reached my ears. "Do you really want to break up with me? What did I do wrong?" Immediately followed by the girl's cold, emotionless voice. "Break up. Were we ever even together?" I cursed under my breath. What a heartless girl. To my surprise, I was called back from behind in the very next second. Chen Fan. My footsteps faltered. I turned around stiffly. Lang Bingbing looked deep into my eyes, a faint smile playing on her lips. In a flash, fragments of my past life flooded back into my mind. I finally remembered exactly what was supposed to happen today. Realizing this, my first instinct was to run away immediately, but it was already too late. Lang Bingbing tilted her chin toward me, with a teasing smirk. I like guys like him. In that instant, several pairs of eyes converged on me at once. Ji Boda looked completely dumbfounded. Jiang Nua looked at me with a complex expression, and turned and ran away without looking back. Lang Bingbing reached us in just a few steps. Her gaze came to rest on Ji Boda. "Classmate Ji Boda, right? I'd like to speak with Chen Fan in private for a moment. Would you mind heading back first?" Ji Boda was dazed for a second. Then he nodded quickly. "Sure thing." With that, he let go of my arm. As he turned away, his face couldn't hide his excitement. My God, Lang Bingbing actually knew his name. Could she have been watching him for a long time? Lord knows what he was thinking. But Ji Boda looked back over his shoulder uneasily. I looked at the girl before me in silence, my heart a tangled mess of conflicting emotions. I knew only too well. In less than a day, less than greater than. The events of tonight would spread through the whole school. Less than greater than. Everyone would know, less than greater than. That Lang Bingbing liked me. In my past life, less than greater than. Just because of this little joke of hers. Less than greater than. I became the primary target of every boy in the school. Less than greater than. They mocked and bullied me, both openly and in the shadows. At its worst point, it even started to affect my academic performance. Seeing that I remained silent, Lang Bingbing suddenly felt a bit guilty. "Chen Fan." My cold voice made her flinch slightly. "Didn't you say you had something to tell me? Why are you quiet now?" Lang Bingbing fell silent for a moment, then lowered her voice. "To be honest, would you consider becoming my boyfriend?" But she was met only with a scoff from me. Lang Bingbing scratched her head awkwardly. "I'm serious, I'm not joking." I looked her straight in the eye. "So what? Do I have to say yes?" In the few short hours since my rebirth, less than greater than. It's not that I hadn't thought about being with her. Less than greater than. But the risks were just too great. Less than greater than. I couldn't predict what other disasters might occur. No one can be allowed to jeopardize my college entrance exams. Not even Lang Bingbing. After a brief silence, Lang Bingbing looked away, regaining her usual cold composure. "I'm sorry. I was too forward." With that, she prepared to turn and walk away. But I unexpectedly spoke up. "Lang Bingbing, have you ever considered that what you said tonight will cause me a world of trouble?" Meeting her questioning gaze, I shrugged. "Just in this single day, several guys who like you have already warned me off. They told me to stay away from you, and that was only because you took the initiative to speak a few words to me. Imagine what will happen if tonight's scene gets out. Just think about the situation I'll be facing then." A flash of surprise crossed her beautiful eyes as she listened. Then her gaze turned serious. "Don't worry. I'll handle everything. I won't let a word of this leak out. It's already too late." By now, in the girls' dormitory, Jiang Nua's roommates are probably busy comforting him. And in my dorm room, Ji Boda is likely giving a play-by-play of tonight's events. Lang Bingbing lowered her eyes, her voice sounding more sincere. "I'm sorry. I'll make it right. I won't let them bother you." My gaze wavered slightly. She had actually apologized to me for a second time. In that moment, half of my anger dissipated. I thought for a moment before speaking. "There's no need. I can handle it myself. After all, I am a man who has lived for over 20 years. How could I possibly fail to deal with a few school kids? If I can't solve it, I'll come find you. After all, you're the one who caused this mess. What do you think?" A look of bewilderment crossed Lang Bingbing's face. Then she chuckled. "No problem." I pondered for a while, then added, "As for your proposal earlier, at this stage of my life, the college entrance exam is the most important thing. Everything else is secondary." Having said that, I quickly lowered my head. Less than greater than. Preparing to walk away. Less than greater than. To my surprise, Lang Bingbing seemed to have a sudden realization. Less than greater than. She hurried after me. "If I'm not mistaken, less than greater than. Did you just mean to say that after the exams you'll agree to be my boyfriend?" I kept walking and replied without looking back. "No." She wouldn't give up and press further. "Then what did you mean?" I remained as silent as before, simply picking up my pace. Lang Bingbing finally lost her cool. She grabbed my wrist firmly, pinning me against the wall. "Chen Fan, what the hell do you mean? Are you going to run away after teasing me like that?" The girl's warm breath was suddenly close to my face. My pupils dilated slightly. I struggled to pull my hand free, but she only held me down tighter. She lowered her head and threatened. Are you going to tell me? If you don't, I'll make sure you really can't say anything at all. In such a suggestive atmosphere, how could I possibly fail to understand her double meaning? Immediately, I cursed her in my heart. You bad girl. And here I was thinking she was so polite and proper. As her face drew closer and closer, I hurriedly bowed my head. It's exactly what you're thinking. Lang Bingbing raised her eyebrows, an unnamed excitement flashing in her eyes. She was about to press for more, but I used all my strength to push her away and ran straight into the dormitory without a backward glance. Watching my pathetic retreating back, less than greater than. Lang Bingbing didn't give chase. Less than greater than. She just stood there, less than greater than. A smile slowly spreading across her lips. Chen Fan, I've got my eyes on you now. Thump, thump. I leaned against the wall, my heart racing like a drum. I couldn't understand why I was so nervous. The other person was just an 18-year-old girl after all. I admit I've become too greedy. I want both, the exams and Lang Bingbing. But if I had to choose one, it would definitely be the exams. If she has a change of heart and falls for someone else, I'll just have to accept it. I'm just taking a gamble, to see if I can have both. After steadying my emotions, I slowly walked upstairs. Just as I reached my dorm room door, I heard excited whispering inside. Is it for real? G. Boda, did Lang Bingbing really say that? Of course it's true. Didn't you see Jiang Nuo's face? It was as black as soot. I've known Lang Bingbing liked him for ages. Back when he was on cleaning duty, less than greater than. Lang Bingbing just walked by and wiped the board for him without a word. Less than greater than. I stood at the door and listened for a while. Less than greater than. Then pretended to knock twice. Less than greater than. And pushed the door open. Less than greater than. My roommates, who were chatting excitedly. Less than greater than. Scattered instantly like startled birds. Less than greater than. Chen Fan. Chen Fan is back. Less than greater than. I just gave a soft grunt of acknowledgement. Preffin. And went straight to the balcony to wash up. Preffin. While I was washing my face, another figure appeared beside me. Preffin. I didn't even need to open my eyes to know who it was. Chen Fan. G. Boda's voice sounded complex as it reached my ear. What did you and Lang Bingbing talk about just now? I opened my eyes and glanced at him. Why do you ask? We didn't say much. I just asked her why she said those things. Is that so? G. Boda lowered his eyes. And what was her answer? I didn't answer immediately, but silently observed his expression. He was nervously clutching the hem of his shirt. What's wrong? It's nothing. I shook my head with a smile. She just wanted me to be her boyfriend. G. Boda was completely shocked. Is it really that surprising? I couldn't help but laugh at his reaction. After a long silence, he timidly asked, So, what did you say? I rejected her, of course. I replied without hesitation. School forbids early dating. Besides, what if it affects my studies? Furthermore, didn't you say yourself that she wasn't a good person? Oh, that? You're right. Seeing that he was clearly relieved, the corners of my mouth curled up slightly. Anyway, I'm off to shower. You should get to sleep early too. Okay. When I finished my shower and stepped out, all 5 of my roommates were already in bed, but absolutely none of them were actually sleeping. Everyone was hunched over their desks, burning the midnight oil. The entrance exams were just around the corner, and everyone was feeling the immense pressure. After tidying up, I got into bed and turned on my reading light, starting to read and review the material. Even though I was a top student in my past life, less than greater than, so many years have passed by. Less than greater than. There was a lot of knowledge I could no longer clearly recall. Less than greater than. If I didn't take these few months to review thoroughly, less than greater than. There was simply no way I'd get the same results as before. Fortunately, my foundation was still there. As I read, the old knowledge gradually resurfaced in my mind. I felt extremely confident in my abilities. After all, I was already famous for being a genius back in high school. The clock had just struck midnight. I turned off the light and put away my books to sleep. But in the dormitory room, the other 5 showed no signs of calling it a night. Hearing the noise from my side, they couldn't help but glance over at me. They were probably wondering why I was going to bed so early. In my senior year, I used to stay up until the small hours every single day. But in this life, I know all too well the dangers of staying up late. I don't want to experience a sudden death ever again. However, I clearly overestimated myself. I lay in bed, tossing and turning incessantly. It continued until everyone else had slowly drifted off to sleep. I remained wide awake, unable to find rest. Every time I closed my eyes, the events of my past life flashed vividly before me. I was terrified that when I woke up, I'd find myself back in that cramped rental room from my past life, slaving away at overtime day and night just to earn a pittance, drained by my relatives until there was nothing left. I can even still clearly remember the look of pity and regret in my teacher's eyes when we met again. It had left a deep, lingering wound in my soul. I was supposed to have had such a brilliant and shining future, but I lived a useless life. It shouldn't have been like this. Unconsciously, cold tears streamed down and soaked my pillow. I don't know how long passed before I finally fell into a deep, exhausted sleep. But that sleep was far from peaceful. I dreamed of my relatives from my past life. They surrounded me like blood-sucking demons, frantically sucking every last drop of my blood dry. Chen Fan, I am your mother. I raised you for over 20 years. Shouldn't you repay me? Do you even deserve it? In this life, just stay obediently in Dongcheng. Earn money to support our whole family. Brother, I'm out of spending money again this month. Please transfer a few thousand yuan to me. Chen Fan, your younger brother is still 200,000 short to buy a house. As the older brother, you have to find a way. I felt like I was being dragged down into a bottomless abyss, desperate to the point of suffocation. However, at that darkest moment, a figure stepped toward me against the light. Reaching out and pulling me into their embrace, she gently placed a kiss on my forehead. Chen Fan, I'm here. At that very moment, I felt myself leaning against a very warm chest, an embrace that made me feel strangely at peace. I tried to see that person's face clearly. Finally, I saw it. It was Lang Bingbing. Phew. I suddenly snapped my eyes open, gasping for breath. Seeing clearly that the surroundings were the dormitory, my frantically racing heart finally began to calm down. I have truly been reborn. I tiptoed out of bed, starting to change clothes and freshen up. It was just past 6 a.m. My roommates were still fast asleep. I quickly finished packing up and left the room. Heading straight to the school cafeteria, I bought 2 mantou. Then I went straight to the classroom. I arrived quite early, but there were already a few people scattered in the class. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Senior year really is full of pressure. Time passed gradually. The classroom became more and more crowded. Jiboda and his roommate arrived just as the self-study bell rang. Looking around the entire classroom, except for Lang Bingbing and her friends, basically everyone was present. The literature teacher did a round. Seeing the empty seats, they said nothing more. It seems they're already used to this, as the class was about to end. Lang Bingbing finally strolled in with a few other girls. Lang Bingbing walked in first, followed by Zhou Qian, Jiang Li, and Lu Mengxin. I don't know if it was my hallucination, but when they passed by my seat, their eyes were fixed on me the whole time. Lang Bingbing aside, but what's with the other 3? Could it be that Lang Bingbing? I quickly guessed what was going on. When the period ended, Jiboda ran over to ask me to go to the restroom together. To our surprise, as we walked out of the restroom, we happened to run into some boys from the next class. The person in the middle was Jiang Nuo, with red and swollen eyes. The moment he saw me, his gaze locked onto me and wouldn't let go, filled with an indescribable resentment. I had intended to pull Jiboda away. Unexpectedly, he led those boys to block my path. He sized me up with bloodshot eyes. Are you Chen Fan? Hearing about you is one thing, but meeting you is another. You don't seem like much. Is something wrong? I didn't even bother to look friendly. Are you and Lang Bingbing dating? Jiang Nuo asked, sniffing his nose. I smiled. That's none of your business, is it? Jiang Nuo's expression changed instantly. He was about to lose his temper but was held back by the boys next to him. He grit his teeth and spat out a threat. Don't think Lang Bingbing truly likes you. She doesn't like anyone. Her family already arranged a marriage partner for her long ago. She's just playing around while she's here. I nodded slightly, adding one more thing before leaving. Thanks for letting me know. This time it was Jiang Nuo and his group's turn to freeze. I'm dying of laughter. Chen Fan, did you see that? Jiang Nuo's face just now looked like he'd just eaten trash. After they were far away, Jiboda started gloating. I just gave a bland smile and didn't reply. But then again, Chen Fan, I heard that Lang Bingbing really seems to have a fiancé in the capital. Probably. So Chen Fan would better stay away from someone like Lang Bingbing. She's only here to play around for fun. I gave him a meaningful look. If I hadn't already seen through his character, I might have actually thought he cared about me. On one hand, he tells me to stay away from Lang Bingbing, while on the other hand, he tries everything to get Lang Bingbing's attention. What kind of logic is that? I left him with a vague, don't worry, I have my own plans. Then I headed back to the classroom. Jiboda intended to follow me to my seat. However, the empty seat next to me was already taken by Yang Li and the others. They were surrounding Lang Bingbing's desk, not paying the slightest attention to us. I gave a light cough. Excuse me, could you let me through? Immediately, several of them turned around at once. Seeing it was me, their faces lit up with smiles. E.G. is here. You girls get out of the way. E.G., please take a seat. The whole group scattered to both sides. Everyone was giggling, while Lang Bingbing was sitting at her place, legs crossed, looking every bit the elegant young lady. Seeing me looking over, she smirked slightly, signaling me to sit down with her eyes. The moment I sat down, I heard Jiboda's curious voice. Hey, why does everyone call Chen Fan Yi? Why shouldn't we call him that? We call Sister Bingbing. Before Jiang Li could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Lang Bingbing's cough. Zhou Qian, standing nearby, quickly explained, Yi Ji is the pillar of our class. It's not too much to call him that, right? Ji Boda nodded as if he understood. Smiling, he said, I guess I should call you Yi Ji from now on too then. Stop joking around. Oh right, Chen Fan. The rankings for this exam are out. The homeroom teacher will surely announce it next period. I wasn't worried about this exam at all. I was only worried about the important upcoming exam. If my results dropped too much, the teacher would surely call me in for a heart-to-heart. Ji Boda whimpered that his performance was a mess. I comforted him with a few words. The school bell finally rang. I pulled out my English book preparing for the lecture. But suddenly, I felt someone playing with my hair. I tilted my head slightly to the side and saw Lang Bingbing leaning over her desk. She was looking at me with a faint smile on her lips. I lowered my voice. What are you doing? I didn't bring a pen. Lend me one. A student going to class without a pen is no different from a soldier going to war without a gun, right? I was about to get a pen for her when Jiang Li suddenly spoke up. Sister Bingbing, if you didn't bring a pen, just tell me. I've got plenty here. She pulled out several pens and handed them over. Lang Bingbing's expression stiffened, but in the end, she still took them. Seeing no further issue, I intended to continue studying, but only a few seconds later, someone tapped my shoulder from behind. Do you have a red pen? I need to correct some mistakes. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Am I hearing this right? The eldest Miss Lang actually needs to correct mistakes. I was just about to hand her a pen when Jiang Li's voice rang out again. I have red pens too. Sister Bingbing, let me find one for you. Lang Bingbing had enough. You don't study all day. But why on earth do you have so many pens? Bad students usually have lots of school supply. Jiang Li replied smugly. Lang Bingbing ruffled her hair in frustration. Zhao Qian, standing nearby, smiled meaningfully. Jiang Li, do you really think Sister Bingbing needs a pen? Is she not? Fine, you'll never find a boyfriend in this lifetime. Listening to them bicker and tease each other, my lips unconsciously curled into a smile. I casually pulled a red pen from my pencil case. Without turning around, I reached back. I happen to have two. I'll give you one. Thanks a lot. Yi Ji. Lang Bingbing's voice carried a low chuckle, until homeroom teacher Zhang Jiwen walked in. Only then did the two of them stay quiet. The teacher stood solemnly at the podium. The entire classroom fell into a pin-drop silence. Finally, he spoke. For this midterm exam, our class didn't perform quite as ideally as hoped. The average score is 3 points lower than Class 9's. We're second in the entire grade. In the grade's top 10, our class contributed 3 students, namely Yang Zhui at 9th place, Peng Yaodong at 6th, and Chen Fan at 2nd. After the homeroom teacher finished speaking, a round of applause immediately broke out in the class. I clapped along with everyone else. A sneer came from behind. Well, look at the big scholar. What are you clapping for? My movements froze. I clapped a few more times. This time it's applause for praise, but next time, I'm probably in for criticism and questioning. After the applause, everyone braced themselves to be scolded. Unexpectedly, the homeroom teacher changed his tune. The results of this exam are already in the past. It's enough that you know your own abilities. I don't want to say anything more about it. Hearing that, everyone in the class breathed a sigh of relief. Who would have thought that in the next second, the homeroom teacher would add, the next exam is what's truly the most important. Even I felt a bit startled. The next exam? Next week, there will be a citywide inter-school ranking exam for seniors. I repeat, this exam is extremely important. I hope you all take it very seriously. I couldn't hear any of the words that followed. Only 3 words echoed in my head. I am doomed. I thought I still had time. I didn't expect this citywide inter-school exam to suddenly appear. There were only about 10 days left. Even if I study until I am half dead, I'm afraid I won't make it in time. But regardless, I still had to solidify my knowledge as much as possible, so that by then I wouldn't be in such a pathetic state. Having made up my mind, over the next few days I put my entire soul into studying. I'd almost reached a state of forgetting to eat and sleep. Ji Boda couldn't help but ask me, your grades are already so good. Why are you still risking your life like this? I truly had a bitterness that I couldn't voice. Who would have guessed that the current me is actually a wage slave who traveled back from many years in the future? My arduous efforts, compared to the leisure of Lang Bingbing and her friends, was a stark contrast. They skipped class, dozed off, and played on their phones. The teachers could only choose to turn a blind eye. However, as time went by, rumors about them in the school began to spread. After Saturday evening self-study, I wasn't in a hurry to return to the dorm, but instead stayed behind to continue studying. Not until nearly 10 p.m. did I pack up to leave. By now, the campus was deserted. My mind was still preoccupied with the last math problem, so I didn't notice the figures approaching from the opposite direction. By the time I realized, it was already too late. Isn't this the great scholar Chen Fan from class 20? The boy leading them looked completely like a hoodlum. Two others followed behind him. It was obvious at a glance that these three were no good. One look was all I needed to recognize them. They were the ones who blocked my path in the restroom on the day I was reborn. The leader's name was Yi Ming-shuen. He was Lang Bingbing's #1 crazy fan. That's why he always looked for ways to target me. Looking at the three aggressive students before me, I quickly regained my composure. They were just three immature brats. Did they think being big meant they could do whatever they wanted? Thinking this, I slightly raised my eyes. Is there a problem? My attitude left Yi Ming-shuen stunned. Last time I had appeared utterly terrified. I didn't even dare to look them in the eye. But this time, there was no fear on my face. Moreover, my eyes held a trace of contempt. Seems like nothing I said last time got through to you, huh? Or was the beating last time not enough? Yi Ming-shuen said spitefully. He swung his right hand, intending to land a blow on my face. But the current me wouldn't let anyone bully me anymore. The moment his hand came down, my eyes were cold as ice. Without hesitation, I blocked his hand. Before he could even react, I swung my left hand and delivered a hard slap in return. Crack. The slap echoed loudly in the silent night. Ming-shuen. Brother Shuen. Yi Ming-shuen clutched his face, standing in a daze. I lightly shook my stinging hand. My voice was bone-chillingly cold. This slap was for myself. Consider it a lesson on how to be a person. Don't try to slap others at every whim, because sooner or later those slaps will return to your own face. Yi Ming-shuen stared at me with dark eyes. Who the hell do you think you are? You think you're worthy of lecturing me? No need to thank me. I'm just giving you a little discipline on behalf of your parents. I smiled faintly. Then, changing my tone, I added calmly, let me remind you of one more thing. For someone like you, Lang Bingbing won't even spare you a single glance, even if I wasn't around. The person standing beside her would never be you. With a background like the Lang family, how could they ever notice an ignorant, uneducated boy like you? My words were like rubbing salt into Yi Ming-shuen's wounds. His eyes turned red with rage as he roared at his lackeys. You too, get him for me. Today, I'm going to slap his mouth raw. Seeing the two boys charge, I immediately took off at full speed. 1 against 3 with this scrawny body, I'd lose for sure. And so, a scene unfolded on the quiet campus. A weak, thin guy like me, clutching a stack of books, running for my life, while 3 boys chased close behind, not letting up. After running for a while, I saw the school gate not far away. While wondering if I should seek help from the guards, I suddenly saw a group of people entering the gate. When I saw the leader's silhouette clearly, I felt as though it had found my savior. I immediately dashed toward that person. Lang Bingbing felt someone suddenly throw themselves into her arms. Instinctively, she moved to push me away, but stopped when she caught a familiar scent. Chen Fan? Lang Bingbing looked down, slightly surprised. I was half a head taller than her. Gasping for breath, I gripped her school jacket, speechless. Lang Bingbing. At that same moment, Yi Ming-shuen and his gang caught up. Seeing the scene before them, his heart skipped a beat in fear. What happened? Lang Bingbing looked at the 3 of them, her eyebrows furrowed slightly. Her expression naturally turned icy cold. They wanted to beat me up. Before I could even catch my breath, I hurriedly snitched on them. I knew that in this situation, she would definitely side with me. Beat you. Lang Bingbing let out a cold sneer. But anyone who knew her understood that this was a sign she was about to lose her temper. She looked toward the 3 boys. Her eyes were covered in a layer of icy frost. It wasn't like that. It was him. Yi Ming-shuen hurriedly pointed at my face. He hit me first. If you don't believe me, look at my face. Is that so? Lang Bingbing smiled faintly. Her gaze didn't leave him for a second. Yes, eldest Miss Lang. Chen Fan truly made the first move. Our brother Zwan hasn't even touched his single finger on him yet. The lackeys beside Yi Ming-shuen hurried to back him up. Hearing this, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. If I hadn't reacted quickly, Yi Ming-shuen's slap would have been printed on my face long ago. Seeing Lang Bingbing didn't react, Yi Ming-shuen could only look at her with an extremely pitiful expression. I'm Yi Ming-shuen from class 12-1. Sister Zieyu from class 12-15 is my older sister. My sister even had dinner with you once before. Sister Bing, do you remember? Zieyu? Lang Bingbing frowned. She looked over at Jiang Li and Zhou Qian. No impression at all. Zhou Qian shook her head. Jiang Li thought for a moment before suddenly remembering. It was that time we went to the net cafe. A Xing was busy that day and couldn't come, so we pulled her in to fill the team. After playing, Sister Bing said she was hungry, so she followed us too. Who knew some boys would suddenly burst in while we were eating? This Yu Mingxuan guy was probably among them. And you call that having dinner together? Yes. Yu Mingxuan saw Jiang Li remembered, nodded with great anticipation. To his surprise, Lang Bingbing only nodded slightly as if deep in thought. Then she looked down at me. You really hit him. You could say that. I nodded with a bit of embarrassment. Could say that? Lang Bingbing chuckled. She raised her eyes again. Her icy gaze swept over Yi Mingxuan. Before his look of both hope and grievance, the corners of Lang Bingbing's mouth curled up. Her voice was indifferent. Since the blow has been dealt, what do you want to do about it? Miss Lang. Yi Mingxuan was so shocked his eyes widened. Chen Fan. I was startled to suddenly hear her call my name. I looked up blankly. Was it satisfying to hit him? If not, I'll let you hit him some more. I stared at her, speechless for a moment. An indescribable emotion suddenly crept through my mind. It seemed like this was the first time someone had protected and favored me so unconditionally. I took a deep breath. Trying to suppress the strange feelings in my heart, slowly shook my head. That's not necessary. Fine. Lang Bingbing nodded and looked back at Yi Mingxuan's group. Her cold face showed clear impatience. Haven't you vanished yet? Miss Lang. Yi Mingxuan was still unwilling, looking at her with teary eyes, but she was heartless. Scram. Yi Mingxuan pouted his lips. He clutched his face and ran off until he vanished. The two lackeys glanced at each other and followed suit. At this moment, Zhou Qian was very perceptive. She pulled the other two close. Sister Bingbing, you and Chen Fan take your time talking. We'll take our leave and head back to the dorm first. Having said that, the three of them slipped away in a flash. Before long, only Lang Bingbing and I remained at the school gate. With no one else around, I immediately took a step back, widening the distance between us. Thank you. Is it just a plain thank you? Lang Bingbing raised an eyebrow. Her gaze was full of teasing. I was silent for a moment, trying to speak. Then how about I treat you to a meal another day? No day like today. Let's just settle on today. But it's already late. Besides, we already ate this afternoon. Before I could finish my sentence, a growling sound rang out. I immediately felt my face burning hot. I truly just wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Your stomach seems to be protesting. I stubbornly said, the school is about to close soon. It's fine, Sister Bing will cover for you. Lang Bingbing asked, half joking. So, what do you want to eat? Can we have BBQ? I don't have any money, I answered very honestly. My allowance for this month is almost gone. Just one BBQ meal would be enough to make me starve for the entire next week. Lang Bingbing fell silent for a rare moment. So that's the real problem. In the next second, she draped her arm over my neck. Then she pulled me toward the school gate. Let's go, Sister Bing's treat. Since it had come to this, following the principle of not wasting free food, I followed her. I politely said, thanks, Sister Bing. You dare call me Sister Bing? A sudden remark that left me completely confused. Learn from me, you should call me Sister Lang Bingbing. Humph. I chuckled softly and ignored her, asking a professional man over 20 like me to call an 18-year-old kid's sister. Dream on. Behind Dongcheng High School was a food street. It had everything from BBQ and malatang to various skewers. Lang Bingbing led me to a fairly clean-looking BBQ stall. As soon as we sat down, she urged me to go pick the dishes myself. At first, I was a bit hesitant, but when I saw the glistening ingredients, I truly couldn't help but take a few more. I've been gnawing on mantou every day lately. My mouth felt terrifyingly bland. Now, just smelling the fragrant BBQ, my mouth nearly started watering. After handing over the selected ingredients to the owner, I immediately returned to my seat. Lang Bingbing was looking down, sending a message. I asked softly, I didn't know what you like to eat, so I just picked a few things at random. Do you want to go pick anything else? It's fine, and not hungry. I just had dinner earlier. Lang Bingbing put away her phone and looked up at me. Not hungry, yet you said. I went quiet. If it weren't for the fact that I was hungry, she probably wouldn't have come out to eat at this hour, right? Right. Lang Bingbing suddenly held her phone out in front of me. What's your phone number? Tell me. Looking at the phone before me, I didn't reach out to take it. After a moment, I shook my head slightly. I don't have a phone. Seeing the surprise in her eye, I was extremely earnest. I shrugged. I really don't have a phone. I'm not lying to you. Most high school students have phones these days. It's just that they're usually confiscated by their homeroom teachers. Without a phone, how do you usually contact your family? Lang Bingbing asked, a bit curious. I don't usually keep in touch that often. If there's something important, I borrow a classmate's phone. There's also a public phone booth downstairs at the dorm. Lang Bingbing nodded as if she understood and didn't ask further, but a strange look flashed in her eyes for a moment. I pretended not to notice anything and quietly sipped my drink. A moment later, the owner brought out a fragrant plate of barbecue. The rich aroma filled my nose, but for the sake of pride, I sat there trying to act reserved. Lang Bingbing seemed to see right through my act. She couldn't help but smile and say, just eat already. Hearing her say that, I didn't hold back anymore. I immediately grabbed a skewer and started eating. I ate very quickly. My stomach gradually began to feel full. I started slowing down my pace. Yet Lang Bingbing, sitting across from me, barely touched her food. She just rested her chin on her hand, staring at me intently. Could it be that I am actually that handsome? Lang Bingbing, aren't you eating? If you don't eat, I'm going to finish everything. I looked down at the plate of barbecue. She shook her head and laughed. You eat. If it's not enough, well, order more. It's enough, it's enough. I quickly waved her off and went back to eating. Chen Fan. She called my name out of nowhere. I hurriedly swallowed the food in my mouth and looked up at her with a dazed expression. I didn't expect someone as scholarly as you to be so gutsy. You even dared to slap him. Her voice was full of teasing. I was only retaliating. He was the one who hit me first. I pouted and mumbled. Suddenly, Leng Bingbing's eyes turned cold. He hit you? When did this happen? I waved it off dismissively. Forget it. It's over now. Anyway, we're even now. Leng Bingbing was silent for a moment. She didn't say another word. I finished eating soon after and left the barbecue place with her. Of course, Leng Bingbing still paid the bill. While passing by a bubble tea shop, Leng Bingbing dragged me inside without a word. She bought a bubble tea and shoved it into my hands. And so, I walked beside her sipping the bubble tea, leisurely making our way back to the school area. It felt so satisfying. Leng Bingbing looked at my satisfied expression. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile. How come she hadn't noticed before that I was actually so easy to please? Actually, back when she used to talk to me, I was always trying to find ways to avoid her. Perhaps realizing something, Leng Bingbing suddenly spoke up. Chen Fan, I feel like you've been a bit different lately. Hearing that, my footsteps faltered slightly. My heart began to race. Did I change too quickly? Did she catch on to something? Do you remember last month? You were called by the teacher to work on exams and didn't have time to eat. I was kind enough to offer you a piece of bread, yet you absolutely refused to take it. Who would have thought everything would change in just a month? You didn't even hesitate when I treated you to barbecue. And you're enjoying that bubble tea too, aren't you? I recalled it with a bit of embarrassment. It seems like that actually happened. Was I really that stubborn back then? No, that's not it. It was because Gui Boda kept bad-mouthing her, making me both fear and hate her. I'm speechless. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but cursing Gui Boda out thoroughly in my head. He's useless at everything, but he's the best at driving people apart. I thought about it for a while and decided to explain truthfully. Maybe it was because there were many bad rumors about you at school back then, so I just found you a bit scary. But then I realized those rumors weren't reliable, and I saw that you're actually quite kind. That's pretty much it. Leng Bingbing gave a soft laugh. She didn't say anything more. For some reason, she seemed to be thinking about being friend-zoned. My explanation was probably reasonable enough. After all, no one could have guessed that my real change was due to being reborn. The two of us walked leisurely as we passed by a snack shop. My pace suddenly slowed down. What's wrong? Leng Bingbing followed my gaze. She saw at one of the tables, 6 or 7 boys and girls were laughing and chatting loudly while eating and drinking. They were wearing black and white uniforms, likely students from the vocational school next door. Do you know them? Leng Bingbing asked softly. I shook my head and quickly looked away. I didn't expect that after being reborn, the first family member I'd run into would be him. Chen Yu, it makes sense though. He attends the vocational school right next door, after all. It's just that since we're both boarders, we almost never cross paths. At that moment, a few boys in the shop noticed us. Hello, look, that girl is so pretty. Someone elbowed Chen Yu. He looked where the finger was pointing. A tall, elegant figure came into view. But very quickly, his attention was drawn to the taller boy walking next to the girl. Is that Chen Fan? My God, she's seriously beautiful. She's wearing the Dongzong uniform. Way prettier than the school beauties at our place. I don't know why these guys are so excited. Can't you see she already has a boyfriend with her? A girl spoke up with a jealous tone. How do you know that's her boyfriend? Maybe it's just her older brother. A boy replied, unconvinced. Let's go, you. They're far away now. What are you still looking at? Nothing. Chen Yu snapped out of it. He quickly looked away and shook his head. If I'm not mistaken, that girl is probably Leng Bingbing, who just transferred from the capital to Dongzong. One of the boys provided the info. Leng Bingbing? I think I've heard that name too. Amidst the noisy chatter, Chen Yu remained quite silent. He lowered his head. His eyes flashed with a calculating glint. No one knew what he was thinking. On the other side, Leng Bingbing and I had reached the school gate. The gate was closed, but Leng Bingbing walked up to the security guard's window and tapped lightly on the glass. I don't know what she said to the person inside, but the small side gate was quickly opened. I couldn't help but ask out of curiosity, does the guard know you? Well, that's just because we often come back late. He's used to seeing my face. Seeing that, I couldn't help but make a sarcastic remark in my head. Classic rich kids, who only know how to mess around. It was already 11 p.m. The school grounds were unusually quiet. The two of us walked side by side. For a moment, we couldn't find anything to talk about. Chen Fan, look, I just helped you chase those guys away today. And I even treated you to barbecue and bubble tea. Don't you think you should thank me a little? Didn't I already say so? I'll treat you to a meal some other day. I rubbed my nose a bit sheepishly. At the school cafeteria. Okay, what else? I plan to save a bit this month. By the end of the month, it'd have some money saved. Then I'd treat her to a feast at the cafeteria. Who knew she'd say? Haven't you heard this saying? Even dogs wouldn't eat the food at Dongjiang's cafeteria. I was silent for a moment and then said awkwardly, probably isn't that bad. How about instead of a meal, you thank me in a different way? Like what? I blurted out. I don't know why, I always had the feeling that nothing decent would ever come out of this girl's mouth. The next second, I saw Lang Bingbing move her face very close to mine. She pointed her finger at my cheek. How about you give me a kiss? I gave a cold snort and directly reached out to push her away. Then, without looking back, I just kept walking. After just a few steps, I suddenly felt something was wrong. Why were there no footsteps behind me? I stiffly turned my head and found that Lang Bingbing had completely vanished. Only swaying tree shadows remained on the deserted path. In the dead of night, the scene looked quite eerie. Lang Bingbing? I called out softly, testing the air. No one answered. Only the sound of the wind rustling the leaves. Lang Bingbing, I shouted again, full of unease. Still not a single response. I was getting more and more anxious. My legs felt like they'd grown roots. I couldn't move an inch. Just as I was panicking and didn't know what to do, I suddenly felt someone tap my shoulder from behind. I let out a loud scream. The next second, a clear, refreshing laugh rang out from above. No way, is our big boss actually this chicken? Hearing that voice, the nerves that were stretched tight in my head suddenly snapped, but it was accompanied by a deep sense of helplessness and resentment. Lang Bingbing waited for a while, without seeing any reaction from me. That's when she realized something was wrong. She hurriedly crouched down to see how I was. I was still sitting there holding my head curled up, burying my face deep into my knees, motionless. Chen. Fan. Lang Bingbing suddenly felt a bad premonition. She reached out and lightly touched my head, but as soon as she touched me, I brushed her hand away. I'm sorry, I was just joking a little. I didn't expect to actually scare you. Lang Bingbing scratched her head, awkwardly trying to find an explanation. For the first time, the usually composed Miss Lang was experiencing what it felt like to be panicked. She kept apologizing over and over again. Finally, amidst her barrage of apologies, I slowly lifted my head. Under the dim streetlights, Lang Bingbing finally saw the expression on my face. My eyes were red and tears were welling up, but I was still biting my lip hard to keep from crying out. Seeing this, Lang Bingbing felt even more guilty. She bowed her head, and in a hoarse voice kept repeating the words, I'm sorry. I watched her quietly and didn't say anything for a long time. In that moment just now, I remembered something from when I was little. Once my mother took us siblings to our grandmother's house. On the way back, for some reason, I made my mother angry. And so, my mother left me, a child under 10, in the middle of the road, and took my two younger brothers home first. Fortunately, relying on my memory of the way, I managed to drag myself home. But I was so small then. The few-kilometer journey took me several long hours, from when it was light until late at night. The moon was very dim that night. I kept tripping. I can't even remember how many times. Everything around me was silent as a grave. Only the sound of the wind and occasional bird calls. I didn't dare stop, nor did I dare look back. I just closed my eyes and forged ahead, until I finally saw the familiar lights of the village. Only then did I truly breathe a sigh of relief. I had a very high fever when I got home that night. I was so sick I fell into a coma. Chen Fan. Lang Bingbing saw that I was still silent, just staring at her blankly, and she became even more panicked. On my face right now, she saw a vulnerability and helplessness shed never seen before. She didn't have time to think much more. She suddenly reached out and pulled me tightly into her arms. She held me very close, repeatedly saying she was sorry. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. She never felt more regretful than in this moment. I don't know how much time passed. She didn't let go at all, until I slowly reached out and gave her a light push. Only then did she release me and help me stand up. Maybe from crouching too long, my legs felt weak and I almost collapsed. Luckily, she was quick enough to catch me. Are you okay? I shook my head. I'm fine. I slowly let go, creating some distance between us. Lang Bingbing, don't scare me like that again. I'm actually quite a coward. In the quiet space, Lang Bingbing heard me and whispered, I'm sorry. After a long while, the girl's slightly hoarse voice echoed in my ears. She didn't know what to do to make up for the mistake she just made. It's not your fault. I just overreacted a bit. I shook my head, trying to force an awkward smile, half mocking and half comforting myself. In this moment, Lang Bingbing suddenly felt that a lot of things must have happened to me. Why are you just standing there? I turned my head and looked at her teasingly. You're not planning to scare me again, are you? No. The young girl's cheeks turned slightly red. She hurriedly picked up her pace to catch up, but she still kept a certain distance from me. It won't happen again, she whispered as she walked, like a promise to me, and also like she was reminding herself. Hearing that, I looked at her with a bit of surprise, and then let out a soft, okay. Actually, I didn't blame Leng Bingbing at all. It's just that she accidentally brought back things, fragments of memories that I could never truly let go of. After that, we were both silent for the rest of the way, until we reached the boys' dormitory. I stopped first. We're here. Yeah, you go on up. See you tomorrow then. I paused for a second and then added, and about today too. Thank you. She just smiled and didn't say a word. I then turned around and went inside the dormitory. Just as I was about to head upstairs, I don't know why I suddenly looked back and saw Leng Bingbing still standing there, quietly watching the direction it gone. Under the dim light, I couldn't help but let out a small smile, and I quickly ran straight upstairs until I completely disappeared from sight. Leng Bingbing finally looked away and turned to head toward the girls' dormitory. At this time, inside the girls' dorm room, Jiang Li, Zhou Qian, and a few others were engrossed in gaming. Suddenly, the door was kicked wide open. Who is that? Don't you know how to knock? Jiang Li's voice was full of irritation, but it stopped abruptly when she saw who walked in. Oh, it's just Sister Bingbing. Leng Bingbing slammed the door shut without expression, walked straight to her seat and sat down. The others quickly exchanged looks. Looks like something went down. The next second, the whole group shut down their computers and crowded around Leng Bingbing. Oh my, Sister Bingbing, what's wrong? Look at that face, it's black as a coal pot. Who dared to make our big sister unhappy? Sister Bingbing, weren't you out on a date, did you? Failed to get a kiss. Jiang Li finished her teasing with a wink and was immediately kicked by Leng Bingbing. Drop dead. I hit a nerve, didn't I? Look who's getting all defensive. Get lost. After some fooling around, they finally got serious and asked Leng Bingbing what had actually happened. Leng Bingbing rubbed her temples, thought for a while before saying, I just did something extremely stupid. Something stupid. Even the great Miss Leng knows how to do stupid things. Tell us, let us broaden our horizons. Leng Bingbing didn't bother paying attention to them. She was about to get up to go to the bathroom when Zhao Qian grabbed her arm. Sister Bingbing, just tell us the gist of it. Maybe we can come up with a way to help you. She weighed her options and said hesitantly, well, I almost made him cry. After saying that, the other three looked at each other in confusion. It took a few seconds before they dryly asked, Sister Bingbing, what on earth did you do to him? Leng Bingbing's face darkened. It's not what you guys think. She frustratedly ruffled her hair and had to briefly recount the whole story. The others almost burst out laughing after hearing it, but because Leng Bingbing was right there, no one dared to laugh out loud. Trying so hard their faces turned bright red. Leng Bingbing irritably ordered, quickly, think of a way. Otherwise, no one is going to sleep tonight. Why are you looking at me? This matter isn't a huge deal, but it's not small either. It mainly depends on Sister Bingbing's attitude. Zhou Qian waved Leng Bingbing over. After a while of whispering back and forth, Leng Bingbing looked at Zhou Qian with some doubt. Are you sure this will actually work? Well, it can't hurt to try anyway. In short, Sister Bingbing, just remember one thing. Sincerity is the ultimate secret weapon. Leng Bingbing seemed deep in thought and nodded slightly, and didn't say another word. That Saturday night was just a minor interlude for me. The next day, I tossed it to the back of my mind to keep burying myself in my studies. But since that incident, regardless of whether she was in class or not, every time I walked out of the lecture hall, I'd see her figure. She was waiting for me. She would walk me all the way to the dormitory entrance, wait for me to head inside before finally leaving. It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. No one had ever valued and cared for me like this. I thought if nothing unexpected happens, I'll stay by Leng Bingbing's side. But I remained extremely clear-headed. Romance can happen anytime, but the college entrance exams are right around the corner. Studying is the most important thing right now. Soon enough, it was the end of the month. All 12th graders in Dong City were about to take the first city-wide mock exams. Even though I'd been studying with all my might, because time was so tight, I still couldn't restore my peak performance from before. I guessed I'd probably fall out of the top 5 of the grade. Maybe even out of the top 10. Maybe even the top 20. But what's done is done. Now it's up to fate. After the English exam, it's vacation time. Thinking of the upcoming break, a complex, indescribable feeling arose in my heart. I didn't want to go home at all, yet I was forced to. In my memory, every holiday I had to show my face at home to ask for living expenses. Even knowing I'd be scolded, I still had to endure it and ask. Otherwise, I'd definitely have nothing to eat next month. After turning in the English exam, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. When I returned to the classroom, classmates immediately surrounded me to discuss the answers. Seeing me return, they clamored to see my exam sheet. I just smiled and refused, because I knew I didn't do very well this time, so I couldn't let them borrow it for reference. But the others didn't care, kept pestering me to see my work. Just as I was getting a headache trying to figure out what to do, someone suddenly gave my collar a gentle tug from behind. As soon as I turned around, Lang Bingbing's beautiful face caught my eye. Catching my questioning gaze, Lang Bingbing spoke up, "Come outside with me for a moment." I was a bit stunned. Ignoring my classmate's curious whispering, I quickly put my things in the desk and followed her out. We had just stepped out when my classmates immediately began to gossip. "Are those two dating?" I heard Lang Bingbing herself admitted she likes Chen Fan. Just don't know if Chen Fan likes her back. It's likely 8 or 9 parts out of 10. Look at her. Is there even a boy in this school who doesn't like Lang Bingbing? Just as everyone was discussing it animatedly, a piercing male voice suddenly cut through. "What nonsense are you all talking about? Chen Fan isn't in any relationship with Lang Bingbing at all. Gui Boda, since you're so close to Chen Fan, are you sure they're that close but not actually dating? I often see Lang Bingbing bringing food to Chen Fan, and Chen Fan never refuses it either." Exactly. I even see Lang Bingbing walking him to the dorm at night. Gui Boda couldn't fight off the crowd alone. He got flustered and stomped his feet. There's really nothing. Chen Fan has absolutely no feelings for Lang Bingbing. The type he likes is someone like Song Weiwei. Is that for real? Everyone acted like they just heard some shocking news, each one showing extreme curiosity. But as soon as the words left his mouth, Gui Boda immediately regretted it, because claiming I like Song Weiwei was entirely just his own wild imagination. Sure enough, a boy immediately questioned. He really likes Song Weiwei. Then why is he still taking stuff from Lang Bingbing? The question made Gui Boda completely freeze up. Even he couldn't understand it. Clearly, a few days ago, I was still cold toward Lang Bingbing. Yet in the blink of an eye, the two's relationship had become this close. Could it be I was actually seeing Lang Bingbing behind his back? Gui Boda felt extremely uncomfortable for a moment. There was heartache from being betrayed by a friend, and a sense of loss from not getting what he wanted. But most of all, it was jealousy to the core. He didn't know which emotion was dominating him. He forced a strained smile and said, "It's just some food. It's just because Lang Bingbing is giving it voluntarily. It's not like Chen Fan actively asked for anything." But then he suddenly lowered his voice. And besides, everyone knows Chen Fan's family situation is very difficult. He didn't continue the words that followed, but everyone understood the underlying meaning and exchanged knowing glances. So that's how it is. Seeing that no one was questioning him anymore, G. Boda couldn't help but breathe a secret sigh of relief. But when he looked up, a pair of cold, indifferent eyes were staring straight at him. It was Zhao Qin. His heart suddenly skipped a beat. How much did she hear? Will she tell Lang Bingbing? What should I do? Qinshin, why are you just standing there? Where is Sister Bingbing? Didn't we agree to play ball later? Jiang Li walked into the classroom holding a badminton racket. She didn't notice anything unusual at all. Zhao Qin withdrew her gaze. She smiled and shook her head. Sister Bingbing has some business. She told us to just wait for her in the classroom. On another side, I followed Lang Bingbing across the school corridor. Following the stairs up to the rooftop, I asked, somewhat confused, "Lang Bingbing, what did you bring me here for?" "You'll find out soon." Reaching the rooftop, I saw a few figures standing not far away. Only when I got closer could I see clearly. It turned out to be 3 boys, the ones who had bullied me in the restroom before. And there was a girl too. The leader was Yi Mingxuan. I instinctively looked over at Lang Bingbing. What is she planning to do? Miss Lang, a girl I didn't know, was bowing to greet Lang Bingbing, nodding repeatedly, but Lang Bingbing didn't even care. Her eyes were fixed on Yi Mingxuan. Her voice was bone-chillingly cold. "I heard you bullied Chen Fan before, right?" "No, I." Yi Mingxuan was just about to make an excuse, but Lang Bingbing directly interrupted him. "Are you saying that we are lying?" Yi Mingxuan was so scared he was about to cry. The girl next to him saw this and gave him a push. "If you did it, own up to it. What are you still making excuses for? Hurry up and apologize to classmate Chen Fan." After saying that, she looked at me with a fawning expression. "Hello, classmate Chen. I am Xiaoyu from class 12-1. Consider me as older sister. My younger brother is immature. I hope you can be generous and forgive him." I'm truly speechless this time. What kind of society is this? It's all childish drama. I instinctively looked over at Lang Bingbing. To my surprise, she looked at me with an encouraging face. What kind of encouragement is this? Save me, there's really no need for this. Xiaoyu put on a serious face. It's very necessary. Now hurry up and apologize. Yi Mingxuan finally grit his teeth, struggling to squeeze out a sentence. I'm sorry. The 2 lackeys behind him also hurriedly bowed and apologized. We are sorry. Is that it? Lang Bingbing curled her lips, speaking with a faint smile. Yi Mingxuan bowed his head even lower. Classmate Chen Fan, I was blind to have offended you. You can hit me or scold me as you wish, all right? I gave a cold laugh. Is it because I am a mountain that you don't dare offend me? Or is it because there is a mountain backing me, that you don't dare offend me? In other words, if I had nothing in my hands, would you still bully me as you pleased? Hearing this, Yi Mingxuan looked up in a bit of a daze. A flash of resentment crossed his eyes, but because Leng Bingbing was there, he had to grit his teeth and endure it. Classmate Chen Fan, you've misunderstood. I didn't mean that. It doesn't matter anymore. I smiled and interrupted him. I wonder if you've ever heard this saying. It is, those who love others will always be loved in return. Those who respect others will always be respected in return. Seeing his blank expression, I didn't bother casting pearls before swine. Dropping a line, the opposite is also true. Then I pulled Leng Bingbing along as I turned to leave. Not until we reached the fire exit did I let go of her hand. I ruffled my hair. Thanks. I have to admit, seeing Yi Mingxuan's aggrieved look, while not daring to lash out, really felt quite satisfying in my heart. Leng Bingbing reached out and gave my forehead a light flick. What do you mean, thanks? Look, someone I have my eyes on. Isn't someone just any small fry can bully? I held my forehead, looking at the beautiful face right in front of me. My heart involuntarily skipped a beat. Flirting with me again. I'm not talking to you anymore. I have to go back to class and pack to go home. I tossed a sentence back and ran downstairs without looking back. By the time I returned to class, more than half of everyone had already left. Seeing me return, Boda immediately greeted me. Chen Fan, you're finally back. Hurry up and pack. Any later and the buses will be gone. I nodded. I simply tidied up my backpack. Putting in a few exam papers and workbooks was enough. As for Boda, he had finished packing long ago and was standing there waiting for me. All right, let's go. Just as we stepped out of the classroom, we ran right into Leng Bingbing and Jiang Li's group. Leng Bingbing was sucking on a lollipop. Her hands were casually resting on the railing, looking incredibly free and easy. When she saw me, she lightly raised an eyebrow. I ignored her, dragging Boda straight out. As I passed by her, she grabbed my arm tightly. What are you doing? She only said one word. Hand. I didn't understand, but I held out my hand anyway. The next second, a lollipop was nestled in my palm. See you on Monday. See you, I replied subconsciously. As I turned to leave, I could still hear Jiang Li's group cheering and teasing behind me. I peeled the wrapper off the lollipop in my hand, put the candy in my mouth to savor the taste. Orange flavor, very sweet. Boda witnessed it all and felt uncomfortable in his heart. He asked sourly, Chen Fan, tell me honestly, are you and Leng Bingbing dating? No, I immediately denied it. After saying it, I felt it wasn't quite accurate. So I added, not for the time being. What do you mean, not for the time being? Are you planning to date her later? So you're flirting with her now? Boda's tone was a bit agitated. His volume unconsciously rose and I glanced at him. Deeply. I asked with a faint smile, what are you getting so agitated about? The urgent priority right now is the college entrance exam. Romance can wait until after the exam. But he still wouldn't let it go. Meaning, you'll date her after the entrance exam. If nothing unexpected happens, then yes. I answered frankly. I wanted him to understand that Leng Bingbing is already reserved by me. If he still wants to be friends, he better not have any designs. On Leng Bingbing. Sure enough, Boda's expression suddenly became extremely complicated. He stayed silent for a long while before muttering, but I heard she once killed someone. Is that so? How come I've never heard her mention it? I'll ask her about it one of these days. My nonchalant face made Boda a bit stunned. Never mind. Even if you ask, she won't admit it anyway. I gave a slight snort, smiling meaningfully. Why not? Spreading rumors is against the law. If she's determined to pursue it to the end, then none of those rumor mongers will escape. And Boda standing beside me, his expression kept changing and he said no more. Who knows what he was plotting in his heart? It was nearly 7 p.m. by the time we reached Huai County. Boda and I said goodbye at the bus station entrance. His family had someone pick him up in a car, while I had to catch a bus back to the town tens of kilometers away. I skillfully found the bus stop, picked a random empty seat and sat down, while staring absent-mindedly at the scenery outside. Suddenly, a male voice interrupted my thoughts. Chen Fan. I turned my head and saw that familiar face. My eyes instantly went cold. Chen Yu, it really is you. Without a word, he sat right down beside me. Why didn't you wait until Saturday to come back? I curled my lip, but didn't reply. I'm talking to you, are you deaf? He muttered with full dissatisfaction, then pulled out his phone to play by himself. It was actually the latest smartphone model. A flash of self-mockery appeared in my heart. Lu Shufen really treats this second son too well. Both are sons, so why is the treatment worlds apart? It wasn't until many years later that I learned the real reason. Looking at the so-called biological brother before me, my heart was filled with 100 emotions. In my past life, he refused to work after graduating. Every day, he'd have his hand out asking me for money. I felt soft-hearted and cut my own living expenses to provide for him. But what about him? He, along with Lu Shufen, secretly changed my college application preferences. Fortunately, the heavens gave me a chance to start over. This time, I must escape this family as soon as possible. Right then, the driver started collecting fares. I pulled 10 yuan from my pocket and gave it to him. But Chen Yu, sitting beside me, kept his head down playing on his phone. "Hey kid, where's your fare?" The driver couldn't help but speak up to urge him. Only then did Chen Yu slowly look up, but his gaze was directed towards me, nonchalantly reaching out his hand to demand the fare. I tucked a stray lock of hair behind my ear, my expression calm. Chen Yu was dazed for a few seconds, looking at me with an unbelievable expression. "Aren't you paying for me? Why should I pay for you? Don't you have any money?" I gave him a cold glance. If I remember correctly, his allowance was double mine. Chen Yu's expression kept shifting. Resentfully, he pulled out 10 yuan and gave it to the driver. As soon as the driver walked away, Chen Yu immediately lost his cool, shouting right in my face, "Chen Fan. What do you mean by that?" My face hardened completely. "Chen Yu, I am your older brother after all. Speak properly." He was intimidated by my cold gaze, left speechless for a long time. Then he muttered under his breath, "Just you wait, I'll tell Mom when we get home. Let's see how Mom deals with you." I gave a cold laugh, not bothering to care. Seeing no reaction from me, Chen Yu thought I was afraid, so he smugly approached. "It's fine if you don't want me to tell Mom. Just be honest. Tell me, what's your relationship with Leng Bingbing?" Leng Bingbing? How did he know? I understood quickly. It must have been that night, when Leng Bingbing took me out to eat. He must have accidentally seen us. "What do you want?" "Just that a friend of mine thinks she's so pretty and wants her contact info. Give it to me." "Contact info?" I smiled, mouthing the words, "I don't have it." "Are those trashy friends of yours even worthy?" Chen Yue looked dissatisfied. "Then on Monday when you go to school, get it for me. If you want it, go ask for it yourself." I laughed coldly, looking him up and down. Then meaningfully, "But don't say I didn't warn you." Leng Bingbing's standards are not low. He snorted disdainfully. "What's so great about her? If I have to go, I'll go. If someone like you can hang out with her, then I don't believe we can't get it." Hearing this, I laughed from anger. I really don't know where Chen Yu gets such confidence. From his looks to his IQ, he is extremely mediocre. While I, according to the villagers, didn't look like a child of the Chen family at all, I was too handsome and too intelligent. Only much later did I learn that I truly didn't carry any Chen family genes. The night slowly descended. Nearly 8 p.m., the bus arrived and came to a stop. I threw on my backpack and stepped off. Watching Chen Yu jump on a motorbike taxi and speed away, he didn't forget to leave me a smug smile. From the station, it was a 40-minute walk home. I felt the meager amount of money left in my pocket, ultimately deciding to walk back. Considering this my last stroll in this place, to say a final goodbye. Walking and resting, I reached the house gate at 9 p.m. The large black dog in the yard suddenly barked fiercely. "Hey Blackie, it's me." I slowly stepped into the yard, after seeing my face clearly. The black dog immediately stopped barking, wagging its tail and looking at me with joy. I bent down and patted its head. This was the dog I had raised single-handedly. A moment later, someone came out to check, asking, "Who's there?" It was Chen Banshin's voice. I stood up and slowly walked forward. "It's me." "Chen Fan?" He looked very surprised. "Why are you back? The school has a periodic break. Am I not allowed to come home?" I asked calmly. "I didn't mean that. I just meant, why didn't you call ahead, so we could save some dinner for you?" "I don't have a phone." He was momentarily speechless, not knowing what to say next. Right at that moment, Liu Shufen's shout came from inside. "Old Chen, who's outside?" "Chen Fan is back." Chen Banshin called back into the house, then smiled at me. "Come inside. Don't just stand out here." I nodded, quietly following him into the house. Actually, my feelings for this father were even more complex. No hatred, only resentment. Resentment that he was too weak, following everything Liu Shufen said. In the living room, Liu Shufen was laughing and talking happily with Chen Yu and Chen Yuze. After seeing me, her face changed instantly as she mocked, "Oh, what wind blew our family's star of wisdom back here? From childhood, my grades were always excellent, always in the top 3 of the entire county, but Liu Shufen never looked at me with favor. She even wanted to force me to drop out. Even though I had mentally prepared myself, my heart still felt a slight pang of pain. I struggled to force out one word, mother. Liu Shufen gave a cold snort, turned her face away to continue chatting with Chen Yu's brothers. Shen Banshin stepped in as a mediator. "Shen Fan, you probably haven't eaten anything yet." "Shufen, I remember there was some dinner left over. Quickly let Chen Fan have some to tide him over. That's saved for you as late-night snack. The rest I fed to Blackie already." Liu Shufen said without even turning her head. Chen Banshin looked embarrassed. Then, "Chen Fan, go into the kitchen and cook some noodles for yourself." I nodded, put down my bag, and headed toward the kitchen. After the long bus ride, my stomach was already sticking to my ribs from hunger. From behind, Chen Banshan's voice came, "Oh right, fry an egg to eat with it. Those eggs your grandmother brought over the other day." Before he could finish, Liu Shufen interrupted him. "Those eggs are to nourish his younger brothers. They aren't for just anyone to eat." My back stiffened. I called back without looking. "I know." About 10 minutes later, I came out carrying a bowl of plain noodles with nothing else. When I passed by Liu Shufen, she glanced at my bowl with a wary gaze. Only after confirming there was nothing extra did she look away. I laughed coldly in my heart, went straight to the table, and lowered my head to eat. Meanwhile, Chen Yu and Chen Yi's were fighting over a bag of beef jerky. Liu Shufen, favoring the youngest, gave the entire bag of jerky to Chen Yi's. Chen Yu pouted resentfully. His eyes scanned the house. When he saw me, a malicious smile appeared on his lips. "Hey, brother. That night, who was that girl with you? She looked pretty cute." Chen Yu intentionally raised his voice to attract everyone's attention. I froze while eating my noodles. My cold gaze stared at him. He was clearly doing this on purpose. "A girl? What girl?" Liu Shufen immediately frowned. Chen Yu hurriedly embellished. "Mom, you have no idea. I saw brother with a girl, very intimate. Their relationship looked really good. That girl was really beautiful too." Hearing that, Liu Shufen's expression changed in an instant. She shrieked at me. "Chen Fan, is what you said true?" I put my chopsticks down. I calmly looked at Chen Yu. "Yes, it is, so what? If I remember correctly, then that day, he was the one out eating with a bunch of girls. I spend money for you to go to school to study, not for you to go around fooling around. You might not care about your reputation, but your father and I still need to save face." Facing these groundless insults, my face couldn't help but turn several shades paler. Even though I had prepared myself, my heart still felt an indescribable ache. Even without a biological connection, I was still raised by them single-handedly. Why must they be so harsh? In my last life, these scoldings lasted until I graduated college. Only when I started sending money home did Liu Shufen's attitude improve even slightly. I once naively thought, money could buy a little maternal love, but now, I've woken up. Forget that so-called motherly love. This woman isn't worthy. Thinking of this, a sharp glint appeared in my eyes. I slammed my chopsticks down on the table, stood up abruptly, and walked toward Liu Shufen. "You tell me, in what way do I not care about my face? Who am I supposedly fooling around with?" Liu Shufen was stunned. She didn't expect her usually obedient son to dare talk back. Regaining her senses, she flew into a rage. "Rebellion. So now you dare to talk back so brazenly." I gave a cold laugh. "I walked with a female classmate, and you call it fooling around. So Chen Yu eating out with a group of girls. Isn't that just like being a gigolo then?" "You? What kind of nonsense are you talking?" Chen Yu's face instantly turned red. "You animal. He's your younger brother." Liu Shufen sprang up from her chair, raising her hand to slap me. I lightly sidestepped and dodged it. Then I challenged her. "He's my brother. Am I then not also your son? Yet you curse at me as if I'm nothing. Don't I know exactly what kind of person you are?" I burst out laughing, calmly replying, "Let me correct your phrasing. You aren't the one paying for my education. I am in school based on my own merits. My tuition and fees are fully waived every year. The school even gives me a hardship allowance. What's more, the year I passed the entrance exam, 20,000 yuan reward from the town government went straight into your pocket. Calculate it carefully. Just how much money have you actually spent on me?" Liu Shufen's eyes widened as she clutched her chest, trembling all over from pure rage. The next second, she slumped onto the floor, slapping her thighs and wailing pitifully. "Oh heavens, what kind of ungrateful white-eyed wolf have I raised? Just got home and already making me livid, even demanding to settle debts." I kept a calm face, continuing to watch her performance. From childhood until now, I've only worn relatives' hand-me-downs and my brother's scraps. While I've done housework and cared for my brothers since I was little, my monthly expenses were a few hundred yuan at most. Is that what you call raising me all these years? Chen Fan, apologize to your mother right now. Chen Banshan acted as the mediator. Your mother just has a bit of a temper. She just nags a little. But her heart is good. Don't be so stubborn, all right? I gave a meaningful smile. Maybe her heart is good, but definitely not toward me. She even, for her own selfishness, ruined my college application preferences. I can forgive everything else. But for this specifically, I will resent her forever. That's right, brother. Mom didn't even say much to you. Why are you being so narrow-minded? Chen Yu continued to add fuel to the fire, looking at the wailing mother, the hypocritical father, the gloating brother, and the cold, selfish younger brother. I only felt a strong sense of helplessness surround me. How exhausting, I laughed to myself. Sometimes I really doubt that any of you are my family. After saying that, I grabbed my bag and ran straight upstairs. Liu Shufen and Chen Banshan watched as my shadow faded away, staring at each other in a daze. After returning to my room, I immediately locked the door. My back against the door, I slowly slid down to sit on the floor. My eyes were red, but I bit my lip hard. determined not to let a single tear fall. In my last life, it wasn't until I started working that I knew that I was not a child of the Chen family. I could never understand why Liu Shufen detested me so much, not until I was 24 years old. When Chen Banshan had an accident and needed blood, did I find a clue. Chen Banshan was type O. Liu Shufen was also type O. But when I donated blood in college, the test results showed that I was type B. Two things that seemed completely unrelated suddenly connected in my mind. My whole body suddenly froze in place. My limbs went cold. How could a couple who both have type O blood give birth to a child with type B blood? What kind of biological miracle is this? Or we never had any blood relation to begin with. In that moment, I understood everything, why she hated me so much. Why, no matter how excellent I was always an eyesore to her. Why, when I clearly had the chance to enter the best university in the entire country, less than greater than, I was completely ruined, less than greater than, by her own hands. It turns out the answer was there all along, simply because I'm not her biological son. I even doubted my own memory. So I intentionally tricked Liu Shufen into going to the hospital for a blood test. The results proved I didn't remember wrong. She really does have type O blood. There truly is no blood relation between us. When I held the results in my hand, I didn't confront her right then and there. Not until Chen Banshan's surgery was over did I show up in front of her with the 3 reports. They only finished primary school. They couldn't recognize those English letters at all. I calmly explained that both of them have type O blood. Under their questioning gazes, I took a deep breath. And I have type B blood. So what? Is there a problem? Liu Shufen peeled an apple, acting like she didn't care. I declared every word with a low, firm voice. Whether in medicine or biology, a couple who both have type O blood can absolutely never give birth to a child with type B blood. After I said, the hospital room fell silent for several seconds. The apple in Liu Shufen's hand fell to the floor. She was still holding the knife, but her face had turned pale. The panic in her eyes told me I was right, and Chen Banshan's expression also changed significantly. What nonsense are you talking about? Liu Shufen shouted in panic, and I replied, I'm not talking nonsense. Everything I said is the truth. I calmly looked at the doctor who had just come to check the room. I asked as if by chance, Doctor, both parents have type O blood. Can they have a child with type B blood? The doctor replied decisively, that is impossible, unless that child isn't biological. That one sentence left both of them completely speechless. Chen Banshan tried to speak, calling Chen Fan, wanting to say something. But I just grabbed my bag and left without once looking back. I returned to my rented room. I bought a lot of beer, drinking as my tears flowed. I clearly should feel relieved, but my heart feels like it's being cut by a knife. Just because I'm not biological, do I have to be treated like this? Why is fate so unfair to me? A few days later, Liu Shufen and Chen Banshan blocked my way. With tears and snot running down their faces, they told the story of how they found me years ago and how they tightened their belts to raise me. Liu Shufen admitted she was biased, but said, as a mother, who wouldn't love their own child more? She hoped I could understand her a little. And yet I softened and forgave her. As a result, just as I escaped one iron cage, I fell straight into another. A cage called moral blackmail for the debt of upbringing. I was heavily shackled. Chen Banshan's unpaid hospital fees? I paid them. Money for renovating the old house? I gave it. They wanted to buy a house in the city for Chen Yizi. I worked myself to death to earn money. Not until I died of exhaustion did I realize that from start to finish, Liu Shufen never loved me. She only saw me as a tool for exploitation. Even adopting me wasn't out of any kindness. Thinking about this, I slowly stood up from the ground. So what if I'm not biological? Does being non-biological give you the right to swap my school choices, less than greater than, and destroy my future? Less than greater than. Just because I'm not biological, you can suck me dry. Less than greater than. Don't you dare use the debt of upbringing to blackmail me again. Every cent spent on me in this life, I will pay it all back to them. After calming my emotions, I sat down at my cramped study desk, opened my backpack, pulled out my exercise book, and started solving problems. Studying is my only way out right now. Deep in my work, a sticky note fell out of the book. On it was an 11-digit phone number. Below the number was a line in elegant English. Homie. Lang Bing Bing, when did she put this in? Looking at this sticky note, not knowing what I was thinking, a faint smile slowly appeared on my face. In my past life, I thought she was an abyss. But my current self feels like she's the only light in my dark world. The next day, I woke up at 6 a.m. I don't want to keep suffering and toiling like in my past life. Waiting until downstairs was silent, I slowly went down. Chen Yizi was sitting alone watching TV, while Chen Yu was still sleeping in his room. Seeing me come down less than greater than. Chen Yizi said casually, Mom told you to wash the dishes. Less than greater than, Remember to make sweet and sour ribs for me and Chen Yu for lunch. Less than greater than. My gaze toward the dining table suddenly turned cold. Making sweet and sour ribs is fine, but where's the money? Give me the money. What money? Chen Yuzi pretended not to know. Do you think I can conjure ribs out of thin air for you? Then figure it out yourself. It's got nothing to do with me. Looking at his mocking attitude, I clenched my fists. Forget it. I have no blood relation to him anyway. I took a deep breath, then turned and walked toward the kitchen. Searching around, the leftover noodles from last night were gone. Only an empty bag remained. I scoffed. My eyes landed on the bag of flour on the other side and the basket of farm eggs Liu Shufen had hidden. So she's guarding against me? If you won't let me eat, then I'll make sure I eat plenty. I turned the whole kitchen upside down. I finally found the basket of eggs in a cabinet. I didn't bother being polite. I cracked 2 eggs, grabbed some flour, and made myself a fragrant egg pancake. As I carried the pancake out of the kitchen, Chen Yuzi's nose twitched. He immediately stared at me. Chen Fan, did you just cook eggs? I ignored him, sat down, and started eating. He immediately flared up, how dare you? You even dared to eat an egg pancake. Those eggs were all for me. Just you wait. I'll tell Mom as soon as she gets home tonight. Let's see how she punishes you. Shut your mouth right now. I couldn't take it anymore and slammed my chopsticks on the table. You dare shout at me? I'll even dare to hit you, believe it? I pretended to roll up my sleeves and stood up. Chen Yu's glared at me twice, then wisely shut up. What a coward, only good at bullying the weak. After finishing breakfast, I cleaned the kitchen while I was at it. I prepared to go out for some fresh air. My brain needs a rest after solving problems all morning. Where are you going? Chen Yu's couldn't help asking, and I replied, none of your business. He looked at me with complex eyes, but in the end he could only fume in silence. I glanced at him briefly, then turned and walked out the door. Looking at the surroundings, both familiar and strange, I felt stunned, as if time and space were overlapping. I walked aimlessly, accidentally reaching the only middle school in town. I never study here. During the primary school graduation exam, I ranked 3rd in the county, so I was admitted directly to the best high school in Huai County. Not only was tuition waived, but I also received a 500 yuan monthly stipend. Otherwise, Liu Shufen would absolutely never have let me study in the county. I didn't doubt that for a second. If my grades had dropped even a little, I definitely would have been forced to quit and find work. Knowledge can change destiny. That's a truth I've always believed in absolutely. After walking around, I prepared to head home. While passing a small eatery, I happened to spot 2 very familiar figures, Chen Fan. They saw me too. I had to stop. I forced myself to go over and greet them. Dad, Mom. Liu Shufen only gave a cold huff and didn't respond. Shen Fan, why are you here? Shen Banshan asked. I was just walking around. By the way, what are you 2 doing here? The lunch delivery at the construction site didn't show up today, so the contractor brought us to this place to eat. He pointed toward his small eatery not far away. Old Chen, is this your son? A middle-aged man approached, observing me curiously. That's right, Brother Wang. This is my eldest son. He's studying in the city. Chen Banshan's voice couldn't hide his pride. Chen Fan, this is Uncle Wang. Say hello. I politely nodded in greeting. Hello, Uncle Wang. Good, very good, the man teased. Your son is much more handsome than the 2 of you. Shen Banshan could only give a forced smile, while Liu Shufen's face darkened. Her eyes scanned my face over and over again. She seemed to be calculating something. All right, you should head home now. Shen Yu and Shen Yiza are waiting for you to cook. I bit my lips slightly and gave a quiet yes. But there was something I didn't know. That man named Uncle Wang kept staring at my back with a thoughtful gaze for several seconds. After lunch, I buried myself in my studies again, till night fell. Just as I was about to go downstairs to cook dinner, the roar of a motorcycle echoed in the yard. They were back. As soon as Chen Yiza saw Liu Shufen, he rushed over to tattle, Mom. Chen Fan boiled eggs to eat this morning without asking. Liu Shufen's expression changed. She looked up at me. I had already prepared myself for a scolding. Unexpectedly, she only gave me a few harsh glares. He already ate them, so be it. Aren't eggs meant to be eaten anyway? Huh. Not only was Chen Yiza shocked, even I was stunned. This is like the sun rising in the west. Also, he only stir-fried vegetables for me and Chen Yu today. There wasn't a single piece of meat. You eat meat every day. What's wrong with eating vegetables once in a while? He even shouted at me and said he wanted to hit me. Liu Shufen's expression shifted slightly, but just when I thought she was about to explode, less than greater than, she endured it again. But did he actually hit you? Less than greater than. Mom, what's wrong with you today? Less than greater than. Chen Yuzu looked completely confused. Less than greater than. Something's wrong. Liu Shufen is being far too unusual today. I turned toward the kitchen and going to cook dinner. But Liu Shufen hurried over. I'll cook tonight. Go watch TV with your brothers. I froze in place from shock. Did she take the wrong medicine or did her conscience suddenly wake up? Soon, 5 large bowls of flour soup were brought to the table. Each bowl had a fried egg, and mine was no exception. Right in the middle of the table, there was also a plate of sliced smoked meat. I looked at the egg in my bowl, feeling more and more that something was very wrong. During the meal, when I reached for a piece of meat, she only glanced at me without saying a word. After dinner, Liu Shufen even fought to do the dishes. Strange events usually signal trouble. Liu Shufen is definitely plotting something big against me. Sure enough, she walked up to me and said, "Come to my room for a moment. I have something to tell you." I nodded calmly in agreement. Under the curious gazes of Chen Yu and Chen Yi's, I quietly followed her upstairs. The moment we entered, she locked the door. Then she pointed to the bed, signaling me to sit. I smiled slightly and said, "I'm fine standing, Mom. Just say what you have to say. You're acting like this, and it's scaring me." Liu Shufen let out a sigh, suddenly starting to sound emotional. Chen Fan. I know I've been biased toward Chen Yue and Chen Yize for years, so I'm sure you feel a lot of resentment. I just smiled in silence. So she actually knows. I thought she was completely oblivious. Don't blame me too much. We were very poor back then. If your grandmother's family hadn't helped us, we probably couldn't have even raised the 3 of you. Wasn't it because you two were determined to have sons? The poorer you are, the more children you have. The more children you have, the poorer you get. I didn't hold back in exposing that truth. Her expression stiffened for a moment. Then she continued, "I know I've wronged you. It's only natural for you to hate me, but I still want you to have a good future and a stable life." Listening to her, my eyebrows furrowed more and more. I interrupted her. "Just say what you want, Mom. Don't try to sweet-talk me anymore." Finally, she revealed her true ambition. "That Uncle Wang you met today is a construction contractor. He earns hundreds of thousands of yuan every year. He even owns several houses in the city. Uncle Wang has a daughter who is nearly 30. She's quite beautiful, except for her limp." Liu Shufen watched my face. "Uncle Wang was very impressed with you today. So if he wants to know if you'd agree to be their son-in-law. So she's waiting for me to fall into this trap." I laughed coldly. "Mom, I'm only 17 years old." I know. We're not asking you to go right now. Once you graduate high school and turn 18, it'll be perfect." I calmly interrupted her. "What if I get into university?" "Going to university isn't that important. Marriage and children are the most important things in life. The Wang family situation is so good. You certainly won't suffer over there. If it's so good, then why don't you let Chen Yu go?" Liu Shufen's face shifted, stammering, "Your brother is too young. He's only 2 years younger than me. If the Wangs can wait 1 year, they can wait 3. But Uncle Wang only has his heart set on you." I laughed coldly again, exposing the truth without mercy. "So how much bride price is the Wang family giving you?" She immediately panicked, shouted me down. "You brat, what nonsense are you saying? There's no money involved at all." I didn't bother arguing with her further. I turned to open the bedroom door to walk out. "If you want to go, go yourselves. Anyway, I'm absolutely not going." "Chen Fan, you stop right there." Finally, she dropped the mask. Raging, "I've raised you for all these years. I should get something back. See, and you still claim there's no bride price?" I turned back with a smirk and asked, "So tell me, I want to know how much I'm worth too." It's only 100,000 yuan." Liu Shufen screamed, her confidence faltering. "I raised you for so many years. Is it too much to take 100,000 yuan? I bet the actual number is more than 100,000. I didn't care to deal with her anymore. I turned and walked out the door. As soon as the door opened, I froze. Chen Yu and Chen Yize were eavesdropping outside. My expression hardened instantly. "What on earth are you two doing here?" Chen Yu flinched back. "No, nothing. We weren't doing anything. We just had something to ask Mom." I glanced at them and said nothing. I silently walked straight downstairs. I found Chen Banshan smoking in the yard. He had looked very abnormal when he came home tonight, especially being far too silent. So he definitely knew all about this. Hearing my voice, his hands shook slightly. He slowly turned his head. "Is that you, Chen Fan? You know everything too, don't you?" I asked, getting straight to the point. His only response was silence, and the heavy sound of him puffing on his cigarette. "Your silence means you admit it, right?" "I'm sorry, Chen Fan." Chen Banshan stubbed out his cigarette and looked at me apologetically. I fought back tears and looked at the sky. "Dad, why is it so different for Chen Yu and Chen Yize? They only need to live happy, peaceful lives. You and Mom are truly too biased." A flash of confusion crossed Chen Banshan's cloudy eyes. In the end, he could only utter 3 helpless words. "I'm sorry. So you also agree with me becoming the Wang's son-in-law?" He lit another cigarette and said slowly, "Chen Fan, the Wang family's conditions are truly very good. Even though Uncle Wang's daughter has a slight leg disability, that's exactly why they'll treat you better. You won't be mistreated over there." Ha, these words sound no different from Liu Shufen's. "If it's so good, why don't you tell Chen Yu to go? Because you feel he deserves better women, right? Well, this kind of disability is for me, so that I can help this big family later, isn't it, Chen Fan?" Perhaps my words had stung his little remaining pride, so Chen Banshin suddenly shouted loudly. But I only gave a casual smile and let it go. What benefits did the Wang family promise you? Chen Banshin's expression froze instantly. After a long while, he replied slowly. Uncle Wang said, if this works out, hell take me with him. To be a contractor so I can earn more money. And isn't there still the 300,000 yuan bride price? 300,000. Didn't they 200,000? The moment he realized he'd slipped up, regret was written all over his face. I nodded slightly as if I understood everything. So it was 200,000 yuan. I never expected I'd be worth that much. A 200,000 yuan bride price back then was truly a massive amount. Chen Banshin stared at me blankly, as if he didn't recognize his own son. I stood up and brushed off non-existent dust from my Dad, I'll never be a live-in son-in-law. I'll keep studying and take the university entrance exam. My destiny must be in my own hands. Then I suddenly changed my tone. If you and Mom are truly that greedy for the Wang's benefits, then let Chen Yu be the son-in-law. Of course, you surely would never let your biological son marry a lame wife. Chen Banshin's pupils constricted. He looked at me with an expression of shock. I only gave a gentle smile. Saying no more, I turned and walked into the house. So this is the butterfly effect. Just because I went out for a walk this morning, the trajectory of my life has completely changed. But my heart is unusually calm right now. I even feel as if a heavy burden has been lifted. The more they treat me like this, the less I'll feel burdened about leaving. I know Liu Shufin's character all too well. She'll definitely never let that 200,000 yuan go. She'll surely find every possible way to force me into this marriage, so I need to leave this house immediately. Unexpectedly, as soon as I walked in, I caught Chen Yue and Chen Yi's whispering together. Seeing me enter, both of them went silent. But Chen Yu suddenly spoke up. Brother, why don't you just agree? It's a blessing that the Wang family noticed you. Don't throw away such good fortune. Chen Yi's chimed in. Exactly. Joining them soon would lift the burden off our family too. Listening to them, my heart felt incredibly cold. Are the brothers I raised myself really this ungrateful? It turns out there has long been no place for me in this family. I am now completely alone, with no one to help. It seems I can't wait until the entrance exams are over. That night, I stayed up all night. I just sat curled up on the bed the entire night. I didn't dare sleep, and I couldn't even close my eyes, fearing that Liu Shufen would do something crazy and inhumane. But luckily, she still had a tiny bit of conscience left. Just as dawn was breaking, I quickly packed my things into my backpack and tiptoed quietly downstairs. Xiao He in the yard had woken up. He almost barked out loud. I was quick on my feet and quickly covered his mouth. Goodbye, Xiao He. If there's a chance, I'll definitely come back for you. I gently patted his head, then steeled my resolve and ran straight ahead without looking back. I ran all the way to the bus station, intending to buy a ticket for the earliest bus to Huai County. But the earliest bus wouldn't leave until after 9 a.m., and it wasn't even 7 a.m. yet. They could discover I am gone at any moment. Because of that 200,000 yuan, Liu Shufen will surely come to the station to stop me. I have to leave right now. And just then, I saw a bus to the neighboring county leaving at 7:30. I can't worry about too much anymore. I'll just get out of here first and figure it out later. Over 40 minutes later, the bus reached the new county. I immediately ran straight to the ticket office. The clerk told me the ticket to the city costs 60 yuan, but I only had a little over 40 yuan in my pocket. I walked out of the station in a daze. An idea suddenly flashed in my mind. Maybe I should try asking passersby for money, but would anyone be willing to lend it to me? No, they'd only see me as a scammer. Then suddenly my eyes stopped at a public phone booth nearby. A sequence of numbers suddenly appeared in my mind. It seems that besides, I can't find anyone else to turn to for help. The moment the other side picked up, a drowsy voice reached my ears. Hello? I suddenly felt hesitant. I even wanted to hang up immediately, but the other end urged impatiently. Hello? Say something, she said. Finally, I spoke up. It's me, Lang Bingbing. The other side went silent for 2 seconds. Immediately after, her voice, tight with excitement, rang out. Shen Fan. I mustered up all my courage and said, I'm at the Siu County bus station right now. Could you come pick me up? Okay, wait for me. The moment I hung up, my heart, which had been hanging in suspense, finally settled. I believed in her. Whatever she promised, she would definitely do. I sat on the long bench, pulled the exam papers from my bag, and started working on them. I don't know how much time passed. Suddenly, I heard someone calling my name. Instinctively, I looked up. A beautiful figure was walking briskly toward me. It was Lang Bingbing. She was panting. Her forehead was covered in sweat, but she still smiled and said, Chen Fan, I finally found you. My heart suddenly stirred. A phrase suddenly crossed my mind. You braved the wind and dust to find me, more than all the distant tenderness in the world. But when her gaze at the stack of exam papers in my hand, her expression suddenly became odd. You really do love studying, don't you? I hurriedly stuffed the papers back into my bag. Then I spoke up quickly. Can you lend me 20 yuan? I don't have enough money for a bus ticket. Unexpectedly, she gave me a look and said, let's go. I have a car waiting. A few minutes later, I saw a top-of-the-line Maybach. I didn't know what else to say. Sitting in the car, hearing the wind whistling past my ears, I suddenly felt an unusual sense of peace. I couldn't help but look at her, and she was looking at me too. I had to admit, at that moment, my heart skipped a beat for Lang Bingbing. This scene, many years later, I would still feel deeply nostalgic about it, like running away together, and also like a form of liberation. Around noon, we finally arrived back near the school. Thanks a lot for today. Lang Bingbing glanced at me with a half smile. Just to thank you again? You still haven't followed through on treating me to a meal from last time. I awkwardly scratched my nose and muttered, well, I have no money. I'm truly broke this time. Lang Bingbing chuckled softly. Then she put her arm around my shoulder. Let's go. My treat. She took me to a Chinese restaurant, ordered a few signature dishes. A moment later, the food was served. I didn't stand on ceremony. I just buried my head and ate. But Lang Bingbing hadn't touched her chopsticks yet. She rested her chin on one hand, with her other hand slightly curled. She tapped gently on the table. Can you tell me about your situation now? If I'm not mistaken, you're from Hawaii County. Why were you at the CU County station? I put down my chopsticks and whispered. I had a fight with my family. So I just hopped on a random bus out of Hawaii County.
What did you fight about? I lowered my eyes, remaining silent for a moment. I didn't want to see pity in her eyes. She was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She wouldn't understand the absurdity of selling a son just for 200,000 yuan. Seeing that I wouldn't answer, Lang Bingbing called my name again. Only then did I snap out of it. I smiled and shook my head. Perhaps I've completely cut ties with them. From now on, I have no relatives. Lang Bingbing frowned deeply. A long while later, she asked, so, what do you plan to do from now on? What else can I do? Just study hard to get into a top university. It's just that right now, my voice trailed off. Do you need help? Lang Bingbing spoke up at the right moment. I suddenly snapped my head up, took a deep breath. Lang Bingbing, can you lend me some money? I can write an IOU. After the college entrance exam, I'll work to pay you back. They'll pay back both the principal and interest. Seeing my flustered explanation, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. After speaking, she pulled a bank card directly from her bag, handed it to me. Use this money however you like. No need to pay me back. The password is the last 6 digits of the card. I took it but immediately protested, that's not right. I will definitely pay you back every single penny. She looked at my determined expression. Half annoyed, half amused, Chen Fan. Do you really not understand, or are you just pretending? What I mean is, my money is for my boyfriend to spend freely. If you agree to be my boyfriend after the exams, then you don't have to pay this back. I suddenly felt the urge to ask, and what if I don't agree? She gave a cold laugh. Then you pay back both principal and interest. Oh right, I forgot to tell you. My interest rates are usurious. Is this a threat? Actually, even if I were your boyfriend, I'd still have to pay you back. The gap between us is too wide. I don't want your family to have a bad impression of me. She suddenly went silent, just staring at me without blinking. What's wrong? We aren't even officially together and you're already thinking about meeting the parents. Her tone was full of teasing. For once, I felt my face heating up. I retorted, who's thinking about meeting your parents? She just laughed and didn't say anything more. I didn't bother with her, tucked the card away and continued eating. A little later, Lang Bingbing called my name again, Chen Fan. I looked up, meeting her deep, soulful eyes. She said seriously, if you don't have any relatives left, then I can become your family. I stayed silent for a long time before replying, I'll think about it. After eating, Lang Bingbing walked me all the way to the dorm, drawing countless gazes from everyone. Back in the room, I took a quick shower and fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, I planned to go to the bank to withdraw some money for immediate expenses. But when I saw the balance on the card, I was completely stunned. There was over 200,000 yuan on the card. Wasn't she afraid I'd spend it all and disappear? A new week began and everything seemed back on track. Until Wednesday afternoon when the citywide joint exam results were announced, shattering the quiet atmosphere of the classroom. My heart skipped a beat. Finally, it was here. I knew that. The score sheet must be in the homeroom teacher's hands. During this study hall period, most likely he would come in to announce the results. Even though I knew I did poorly, I was still so nervous that my palms were sweaty. If the scores were too disastrous, what excuse should I find? On the contrary, Lang Bingbing looked very relaxed, occasionally leaning over her desk to flip through an entertainment book. Suddenly, she poked my shoulder. Hey, Mr. Top Student, what rank are you aiming for in the whole grade this time? Trying to get into the top 38. She froze. Did you add an extra 0 by mistake? I'm not joking.
but clearly she still didn't believe me, because usually my performance was always at the very top. Who would have thought it'd take such a dive this time? I sighed. How can I explain this to anyone? As expected, the homeroom teacher walked in with a score sheet. His expression was a bit grim. The whole class went silent instantly. The results of the joint exam are out, but our class's performance is not ideal. Far behind class 9. The teacher gave a brief summary first. Then he announced the top 10 in the grade. Our class only has 2 students. They are Pang Yaodong and Yang Shui. One is 4th and the other is 9th in the grade. I don't know if it was an illusion, but when he said that, he seemed to glance toward me. A hint of disappointment lingered in his eyes. Still, this result was within my expectations. This time, I didn't just drop out of the top 10. I was afraid I had plummeted much further. Soon after, the teacher gave a few instructions, then let the class continue with their study hall. He told the class monitor to post the score sheet on the wall, but suddenly he turned around and stopped in front of me. He tapped lightly on my desk. "Follow me to the office for a moment." I was stunned for a second. Under the curious gazes of the whole class, I followed the teacher out. Once I was far enough away, the classroom immediately erupted like a disturbed beehive. That's weird. Chen Fan didn't even make the top 10, and teacher Zhang called him for a private talk. He must have failed miserably. "Monitor, don't you have the score sheet? Quick, see how many points he got." My God, the students immediately swarmed around the monitor's desk, scrambling to see the scores no matter what. When they saw my score, the crowd suddenly erupted in shouts of surprise. "How many? What score?" Until a loud slam plunged the whole classroom into silence, as if someone had hit the mute button. Everyone looked toward the corner of the room simultaneously. There was Lang Bingbing, her face dark. Her hand was still on the desk after the heavy slam. "Don't you know how to stay quiet and read during study hall?" Her ice-cold voice sent everyone scurrying back to their seats. In just a few short seconds, the classroom restored its tranquility. Meanwhile, as I followed the homeroom teacher into the office, I heard a stern scolding. "Lin Yusi, look at what kind of results you got this time." A male student was hanging his head, taking the heat. That was the homeroom teacher of class 9. The name Lin Yusi sounded a bit familiar. Without giving me time to think, Teacher Zhang sat down at his desk. He looked at me with an expressionless face. "Chen Fan, do you know why I called you out here privately?" "I didn't do well on the exams, sir." I bowed my head and answered softly. "It's more than just not doing well. It's enough to knock someone off their feet." Then he pulled the score sheet from the drawer and handed it to me. "See for yourself." I took it, even though I was mentally prepared, but when I saw my scores, my heart still tightened. Total score, 590, ranked 10th in the class, and ranked 34th in the grade. For a normal student, this score might be quite good, but for me, this was a historic all-time low. Holding the sheet, an indescribable feeling surged within me. Academic performance was the only thing I had ever been proud of. Teacher Zhang Ziyuan, seeing me like this, didn't have the heart to say anything harsher. "Tell me yourself, what was the reason for this performance?" I bit my lip, not knowing how to explain properly. "Were you feeling unwell during those 2 exam days? Or is something going on at home?" He asked kindly and persistently. I seized the opportunity and nodded slightly. Yes, I really wasn't feeling well those few days. Also, family matters affected my mindset during the exam. To prevent Liu Shufin from causing trouble again, I decided to give the teacher a heads up. Sure enough, hearing Teacher Zhang frowned. "What's happening at your home?" My eyes reddened slightly, my voice trembled. "My family wants to force me into a matrilocal marriage after graduation next year. No matter how I perform on exams, they don't intend to let me go to university anymore." Just as I finished speaking, Zhang Zhiyuan was stunned for a moment. He froze for a long time before exclaiming, "That is absurd." I sniffled and continued, "I will never agree to it, even if they don't support my education. I can still work and study on my own. It's just, I'm afraid they will force me to drop out." Hearing this, Teacher Zhang's gaze immediately became a mix of relief and heartache. His voice softened significantly. "Don't worry. As long as you are still my student, as long as I am here, no one can force you to quit school. Just focus on studying hard. Try your best to get into Jingdu University next year." I nodded vigorously. I felt a bit more at ease, but right then, a female voice rang out. "Oh, Teacher Zhang, is this Chen Fan from your class? What's wrong? Didn't do well?" That was Teacher Li, the class 9 homeroom teacher. She had finished scolding her student by now and was walking past us. Zhang Zhiyuan gave a forced smile. "Yes, Teacher Li, this boy has been dealing with some things lately, so his results in this exam weren't very good." Teacher Li immediately signaled with her eyes toward Lin Yuxi standing behind her. "No matter how bad it is, could it be worse than this one of mine? Did Lin Yuxi in your class also do poorly this time?" "Of course. Last time he got over 680 points, but in this joint exam he couldn't even reach 600. Hearing this, I suddenly remembered who the boy in front of me was. He was my equal and rival in my past life. I couldn't help but observe him a few more times. Right then, Lin Yuxi suddenly looked up. Our eyes met. I felt a sudden shiver, a very strange feeling in my heart, and his gaze showed no less astonishment. I had a hunch that he was feeling exactly the same as I was. Teacher Lee was still complaining. How did these two kids' scores plummet at the same time? To be this pathetic, it's truly a coincidence.
Teacher Li's words pulled me back to reality. A bold hypothesis flashed through my mind, sending a violent wave through my inner soul. After leaving the office, I kept staring at Lin Yusi's back for a long time, but I didn't know how to approach him naturally. Seeing him about to head down the stairs, feeling anxious, I called out, "Student Lin." Lin Yusi turned around, looking at me with some confusion. "Student, what's the matter?" I stared at his face and suddenly a spark of inspiration hit me. "Have you ever heard this song?" "A song? What song?" I softly hummed the line, "You say that you're a bit hard to pursue." He almost instinctively sang the next part, wanting me to know the difficulty and back away. We looked at each other. Both of our eyes were filled with shock. Sure enough, just like me, he was a regressor who had returned. This song, it wouldn't be a nationwide hit for several more years. "Student, Chen, you."
Lin Yusi covered his mouth with his hand. His eyes suddenly turned red. I smiled faintly. It seems we are both the same. Just as we were about to talk more in depth, a shout from afar cut off our words.